The relentless sun beat down on Chihuahua Flats, a vast expanse of baked earth south of El Paso, where life clung precariously to existence. It was here, amidst the shimmering heat and the desolation of a land parched by drought, that a small, 8-year-old girl named Rosalie Quintana vanished. Her world, a fragile tableau of threadbare dresses and the comforting weight of dry bread in a pocket, dissolved in the blink of an eye. While the adults around a broken cart were consumed by their own desperate struggles, Rosalie, barefoot and silent, had been drawn by the hypnotic dance of a silver lizard, its scales catching the harsh light like a fleeting promise. Her small feet, unburdened by the anxieties that weighed down the adults, carried her away, following the creature's path into the undulating mirage that distorted the horizon, swallowing her from sight. The Texan migrant camp, a collection of makeshift shelters against an unforgiving sky, had been without water for 2 agonizing days. The very air seemed to crackle with desperation. Horses, their ribs stark against their heaving flanks, staggered under the oppressive heat. The mournful cries of babies, their mouths dry and cracked, pierced the heavy silence. The men, their faces etched with the harsh lines of sun and worry, scanned the unbroken blue expanse, their gazes desperate for any sign, any whisper of a miracle. When the chilling realization dawned that Rosalie was gone, a wave of despair, far more potent than the thirst, washed over the camp. Her mother, Esperanza, a figure of raw anguish, ran disoriented through the thorny mesquite bushes, her voice raw as she cried out her daughter's name. But the vastness of the desert offered no solace, only the incessant, maddening buzz of insects and the dry, brittle crackle of the earth beneath the relentless sun. It was a soundscape of abandonment, a stark testament to their vulnerability. Yet far from the despairing cries and the suffocating heat, Rosalie found herself in a hidden valley, cradled between ancient red stone formations. She was on her knees, her small hands pressed into the sand, drawn by the low, steady flight of a black and white bird. This was no ordinary bird. It was the very creature her grandmother had spoken of, the one that guides the pure to where the earth still weeps. As her fingers dug into the sand, a miracle unfolded. Dampness. Then, with a gasp of wonder, water sprang forth, crystal clear and cool. She bathed her face, the water a balm against the dust and heat, and drank deeply, a quiet laugh of pure, unadulterated joy escaping her lips. In this secluded sanctuary, a profound peace settled over her, a stark contrast to the turmoil of the camp. But even here, in this secret place, she was not entirely alone. Unseen eyes watched her, ancient and watchful. From the shadowed heights of Tawakoni Ridge, the Comanche of the Tawakoni clan observed the scene. These were reclusive warriors, the custodians of this sacred spring, a place they had guarded for generations. The spring was more than just a source of life. It was a symbol of their heritage, a sacred trust. For centuries, they had fiercely protected it, allowing no outsiders, no invaders, to approach its hallowed waters. Yet the sight of this small, barefoot child, guided by instinct and a celestial messenger, finding the very heart of the spring with her bare hands, was an event that transcended their ingrained vigilance. It was a moment that commanded their attention, a sign that none of them could afford to ignore, a silent testament to a power beyond their understanding. The convergence of these disparate worlds, the desperate plight of the migrants and the ancient guardianship of the Comanche, hinged on a series of events that would irrevocably alter the destinies of all involved. The narrative of Chihuahua Flats was poised on the precipice of change, a change that would be ushered in not by force or by conquest, but by the innocent resilience of a child and the rediscovery of a forgotten harmony. The stage was set for a profound reawakening, a testament to the enduring spirit that could find life even in the most desolate of landscapes, and the quiet strength that could bring warring factions to their knees through an act of pure, unadulterated connection. The story that was about to unfold was not merely about survival. It was about the rediscovery of balance, the potent force of compassion, and the quiet, unwavering power of hope in the face of overwhelming adversity. The desert, usually a symbol of emptiness, was about to reveal its capacity for profound abundance, a lesson whispered on the wind and carried in the heart of a lost child. The first seismic shift occurred with the arrival of the Comanche. Rosalie, still kneeling by the life-giving spring, looked up, her eyes widening as 10 figures on horseback emerged from the heat haze, their movements fluid and silent. They dismounted with an almost reverent grace. Tepa, the old chief, his presence commanding and ancient, stepped forward. His gaze fell upon the small pool of water, then upon the child who had unearthed it. He knelt, his weathered face a mask of profound respect. One by one, his warriors followed suit, their heads bowed in an act of silent reverence. Rosalie, bewildered but sensing a deep respect, cupped her hands and offered them the water. Tepa's response was a gentle smile, a silent acknowledgement of a profound truth revealed. This simple act, the deference of seasoned warriors to a child, rippled through the migrant camps like a wildfire carried on the hot desert wind. A little girl, it was whispered, had brought the proud warriors to their knees. When Esperanza finally found her daughter, safe beside the life-sustaining spring, she was struck by a dual sense of overwhelming relief and a chilling apprehension, not for her daughter's safety, but for the silent, formidable circle of warriors who stood as sentinels around her. The second, equally significant turn of events arrived with a proposal from Tepa. He extended an invitation, a gesture of trust and openness, asking Rosalie and her mother to remain with the clan for a few moons, to understand the heart of the water. This invitation was rooted in a forgotten Comanche prophecy. She who does not seek power but finds life with her bare hands will bring balance between the trails. Esperanza's hesitation was palpable. The shared hardship had forged a fragile unity among the migrants, and many voiced their suspicions, their fear of a trap. Yet Rosalie, her hand clasped firmly in her mother's, radiated a newfound confidence. For the first time since their arduous journey began, fear did not grip her. This unspoken strength, this quiet conviction emanating from her daughter, began to sway Esperanza. The weeks that followed were transformative. Rosalie learned from the women of the village, her senses awakening to the subtle language of the desert. She learned to listen to the wind's whispers, to decipher the stories etched in the clouds, and to recognize the fleeting shadows of animals cast upon the heated stones. She formed a deep connection with Nita, an elder healer who shared her knowledge of the earth's bounty, teaching Rosalie to distinguish nourishing roots from poisonous ones, and the ancient art of singing to soothe the desert's harshness. Esperanza, too, found her own path to peace, learning the rhythms of communal life, the patient art of grinding corn, the tactile satisfaction of spinning cotton, and the profound wisdom of listening without speaking. In the quiet embrace of the Comanche village, a sense of serenity, long absent from their lives, began to bloom. However, this delicate balance, so painstakingly cultivated, was destined to be shaken. Orin Wade, an explorer from the migrant group driven by a relentless greed, convinced that the spring concealed veins of gold, had stealthily observed the Comanche camp. His discovery of the spring's precise location ignited a dangerous ambition. He returned to the migrant leaders, his voice laced with avarice, demanding that they seize the sacred place by force. The air in Chihuahua Flats grew thick with tension, heavy with the unspoken threat of conflict, a storm gathering on the horizon. The fragile peace was now a precarious thing, threatened by the resurgence of primal desires. The true test of their newfound understanding was about to begin, a trial that would demand more than just resilience. It would require a deep wellspring of courage and an unwavering commitment to the principles they had begun to embrace. The vulnerability of their shared hope was laid bare, and the choices they made in the coming moments would determine whether the desert would continue to weep or finally bloom. The third pivotal moment was an impromptu council convened between Rosalie, Tepa, and the leaders of the migrant community. Rosalie, who had transcended her childhood innocence to become a quiet beacon of wisdom, positioned herself at the center of the gathering. She asked them, with a voice that carried the weight of newfound authority, to listen. Her words, simple yet imbued with a profound emotional resonance, explained that the spring belonged not to any one group, but to the land itself. She spoke of a delicate truth, that if they sought to divide it, to claim it as their own, it would inevitably dry up, its life force extinguished. But she offered, if they chose to protect it together, to share its bounty with reverence, it would continue to flourish, sustaining them all. The elders listened, their faces a mixture of contemplation and doubt. Then, Asa, a seasoned settler whose weathered countenance spoke of years of struggle and hard-won wisdom, broke the silence. "If even the Comanche got down on their knees," he stated, his voice resonating with quiet conviction, "who are we to fight?" His words carried the weight of shared experience, a tacit acknowledgement of the deeper truths Rosalie had articulated. The agreement forged that night was more than a truce. It marked the dawn of a new era for Chihuahua Flats. The spring was declared a shared resource, protected by a system of joint caretaking. From this union, a small straw school emerged, a testament to their collaborative spirit. Here, Rosalie and Nita, their voices harmonizing in both English and Comanche, became teachers, imparting lessons on the sacredness of water, the vital importance of respect, and the power of attentive listening. Rosalie's success was not a seamless victory. It was a hard-won battle against deeply ingrained beliefs and prejudices. She had to confront her own nascent fears of rejection, the skepticism of adults accustomed to the ways of force and dominance, and the persistent whispers of cultural resistance. Every small step forward, every instance of understanding, was a miniature triumph against a world that often prioritized power over peace. Yet her innocent gaze, unwavering and clear, and her quiet, persistent will began to chip away at even the most hardened hearts. The landscape of Chihuahua Flats itself began to transform, mirroring the internal shifts within its inhabitants. What had once been cracked, barren soil slowly began to yield to the shade of young trees. Small community gardens flourished, and at the entrances to the tents, pitchers filled with cool, clear water became a common sight, symbols of their renewed abundance. The wind still swept across the flats, carrying its characteristic dryness, but now it also carried the sounds of laughter and the murmur of conversations, a rich tapestry woven from two distinct languages. The rules governing the shared spring were simple yet profound. The water could never be traded, no digging could commence without the consultation of the council, and on every full moon a ritual of gratitude was observed, a collective acknowledgement of the life-giving gift. The union between the two cultures, a delicate and often challenging undertaking, was built painstakingly, moment by moment, conversation by conversation. Rosalie, the girl who had once simply followed a silver lizard and a black and white bird, was becoming a living legend, a testament to the power of innocence, resilience, and the profound impact one small person could have on the world. Her journey was a quiet revolution, a demonstration that true strength lay not in dominance, but in connection, and that even in the harshest of environments, harmony could be cultivated. The aftermath of the events at Chihuahua Flats was a testament to the enduring power of shared purpose and the transformative potential of embracing vulnerability. The drought, which had threatened to break the spirits of the migrant community, slowly began to recede, not through a sudden deluge, but through a collective commitment to careful stewardship. The very land seemed to respond to the renewed respect shown to its precious resources. The spring, once a source of desperate contention, became a symbol of unity, its waters flowing not just into pitchers, but into the hearts of the people. Rosalie, no longer just a child who had stumbled upon a miracle, grew into a young woman deeply intertwined with the rhythms of both her heritage and her adopted community. Her role as a bridge between cultures became more pronounced, her understanding of the delicate balance between tradition and progress deepening with each passing season. She carried the wisdom of Nita, the healer, within her, learning to tend not only to the physical wounds of the land, but also to the deeper, more subtle wounds of misunderstanding and fear that had once fractured the community. Esperanza, her initial anxieties long since transformed into quiet pride, found a profound sense of belonging. The relentless struggle for survival that had defined her life before Chihuahua Flats had given way to a sense of purpose and peace. She had learned to listen, truly listen, not just to the needs of her family, but to the collective heartbeat of the community. She found fulfillment in the simple acts of nurturing, tending the communal gardens, weaving stories into the fabric of their lives, and sharing the bounty of their shared efforts. The Straw School, once a nascent dream, flourished, becoming a vibrant center of learning and cultural exchange. Rosalie and Nita, their lessons interwoven with ancient tales and practical knowledge, taught a generation of children the invaluable lessons of respect for nature, the importance of empathy, and the strength found in unity. They learned that the desert, often perceived as an adversary, was a powerful teacher, its harshness a crucible that forged resilience, and its quiet beauty a source of profound inspiration. The laughter of children, once a rare sound, now echoed through the nascent groves of trees that began to dot the landscape, a testament to the life that had been coaxed from the seemingly barren earth. The rules that governed the spring were not mere regulations. They were a sacred covenant etched into the collective consciousness of Chihuahua Flats. The prohibition against trading the water reinforced its intrinsic value, a reminder that some gifts were meant to be shared, not possessed. The council's oversight on digging ensured that the land was treated with reverence, its delicate ecosystem understood and protected. The monthly ritual of thanks became a cornerstone of their communal identity, a moment to pause, reflect, and express gratitude for the abundance they had collectively nurtured. This consistent practice fostered a deep sense of interconnectedness, not only among the people, but also with the very earth that sustained them. The union of cultures, initially a fragile experiment, solidified into a robust tapestry, each thread adding its unique color and texture to the whole. Rosalie, the quiet child who had followed an instinctual path, had become more than a legend. She was the living embodiment of the balance she had helped to foster, a testament to the enduring power of compassion and the quiet strength of a pure heart in a world often driven by discord. Her journey was a profound reminder that even in the most challenging circumstances, the seeds of hope, when nurtured with care and shared with open hearts, could blossom into enduring peace. The final transformation, the true resurrection of spirit, occurred not in a single dramatic event, but in the quiet, persistent growth that characterized life in Chihuahua Flats. Rosalie, now a young woman, understood that the journey of balance was not a destination, but a continuous path. The community, having weathered the storms of scarcity and suspicion, had cultivated a profound resilience. They had learned that true wealth lay not in material possessions, but in the strength of their bonds and the health of their shared environment. The lessons taught in the Straw School had taken root, shaping a generation that understood the interconnectedness of all living things. Rosalie's return, not to a past life, but to a present shaped by her actions, was marked by a profound sense of fulfillment. She brought back not just the wisdom of the Comanche, but the hard-won lessons of the migrant experience, a synthesis of knowledge that enriched everyone. The elixir she offered was not a magical potion, but the tangible proof that a different way of living was possible, a way rooted in respect, cooperation, and a deep reverence for the earth. The community of Chihuahua Flats became a beacon, a quiet testament to the extraordinary power of ordinary people to create profound change. Their story, whispered on the desert winds, carried a message of hope, that even in the face of overwhelming challenges, the human spirit, guided by compassion and a commitment to shared humanity, could find a way to bloom, transforming scarcity into abundance and discord into enduring harmony. The legacy of Rosalie Quintana was not just a tale of survival, but a profound narrative of redemption, a reminder that the greatest miracles were often found in the simple, unwavering acts of love and understanding that could, quite literally, bring life back to the land. The subsequent phase in Chihuahua Flats was defined by the subtle yet profound integration of disparate customs, a process that moved beyond mere coexistence to a genuine synthesis of cultural understanding. Consider how this manifested in the daily rhythms of the community. The Comanche elders, accustomed to the quiet contemplation of nature's cycles, began to appreciate the structured learning environments the migrants introduced. They observed how the younger generation, exposed to the methods of organized education, developed new ways of problem-solving, approaching challenges with a blend of traditional observation and analytical thinking. Furthermore, the migrants in turn found themselves drawn to the Comanche philosophy of listening to the land, a practice that transcended mere environmentalism, encompassing a spiritual connection to the earth's sustenance. This wasn't simply about sustainable farming. It was about attuning oneself to the subtle cues of the soil, the wind, and the water, recognizing that nature possessed an intelligence that human endeavor could only hope to complement. Building on this foundation of mutual learning, the communal gardens became a vibrant canvas for this cultural fusion. The migrants brought knowledge of crop rotation and irrigation techniques honed through generations of settled agriculture, while the Comanche contributed their deep understanding of native flora, identifying edible plants and medicinal herbs that thrived in the arid climate, plants the migrants had previously overlooked or dismissed as weeds. A fascinating application of this synergy was seen in the cultivation of a hardy, drought-resistant squash variety, a staple of Comanche diet, which was now being incorporated into migrant recipes, its earthy flavor adding a new dimension to familiar dishes. Consequently, the very act of sustenance became a daily affirmation of their shared identity, transforming sustenance into a ritual of cultural exchange. Another crucial layer of this evolving harmony was the development of shared storytelling traditions. While the migrants brought their own narratives of hardship, perseverance, and hope, they found that the Comanche oral histories, rich with ancestral wisdom and a deep reverence for the natural world, offered a different yet equally compelling perspective on existence. Rosalie, with her unique position as a bridge between these two worlds, often facilitated these exchanges, her presence a gentle reminder of the common ground they shared. She would recount tales of the desert spirits, weaving them with stories of the pioneers' resilience, demonstrating how the human spirit, regardless of its cultural origin, yearned for connection and meaning. This wasn't about replacing one narrative with another. It was about expanding the collective consciousness, creating a richer, more nuanced understanding of their shared human experience. Conversely, the practical application of this cultural blending extended to the very infrastructure of their settlement. The migrants' experience in constructing durable shelters was integrated with the Comanche knowledge of local materials, resulting in homes that were both weather-resistant and harmonized with the surrounding landscape. Consider the innovative use of adobe bricks, a technique familiar to the migrants, now enhanced by the Comanche practice of incorporating specific desert clays known for their insulating properties, creating dwellings that remained cool in the scorching heat and retained warmth during the rare cold desert nights. This practical fusion underscored the principle that true progress lay not in assimilation, but in the synergistic creation of something entirely new, something that honored the strengths of each contributing tradition. The community was actively forging a new identity, one that was robust, adaptable, and deeply rooted in the shared lessons learned from the unforgiving yet bountiful land. The communal understanding of resource management evolved beyond simple protection of the spring. It expanded to encompass a broader ecological awareness, a recognition that the health of the water source was intrinsically linked to the well-being of the entire valley. Consider how this applied when the first instances of over-harvesting of mesquite beans, a vital food source, began to emerge. Instead of immediate prohibition, the community, guided by Rosalie and the Comanche elders, initiated a series of educational dialogues. These discussions focused on the mesquite's reproductive cycle and its role in stabilizing the soil, illustrating how its depletion would inevitably impact the spring's water table through increased erosion. Consequently, a system of staggered harvesting was implemented, ensuring that no single area was depleted, thereby allowing the plants to regenerate. This practical application of ecological principles fostered a deeper respect for the interconnectedness of their environment, moving from a reactive approach to a proactive one. Furthermore, the concept of shared responsibility extended to conflict resolution, moving beyond the initial agreement regarding the spring. When minor disputes arose between individuals over grazing rights or access to shade trees, the established council, now including representatives from both cultural groups, developed a mediation process. This process emphasized active listening and the identification of underlying needs rather than focusing solely on perceived grievances. Imagine a situation where two families disagreed over a particularly fertile patch of land. Rather than a simple judgment, the council facilitated a dialogue where each family articulated their needs, one family requiring more space for their growing herd, the other needing access to specific edible plants. By understanding these distinct requirements, a compromise was reached, shared access during different parts of the day, ensuring both families' needs were met without creating animosity. This formalized approach to dispute resolution solidified the community's newfound cohesion. Another crucial layer of this evolving societal structure was the development of a communal defense strategy. While the initial threat had been external, the community recognized the need for internal preparedness. This involved not only establishing watch rotations, but also cross-training individuals in basic survival and first aid skills, drawing from both the Comanche knowledge of tracking and camouflage and the migrants' experience in setting up efficient camp defenses. Picture a scenario where a scouting party, comprised of both Comanche warriors and migrant settlers, identified a potential threat from nomadic raiders. Their coordinated response, utilizing knowledge of the terrain and shared communication signals, allowed them to deter the intruders without resorting to overt aggression, relying instead on a show of unified vigilance. This strategic collaboration demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of mutual security, transforming individual apprehension into collective strength. The educational initiatives also broadened to include the transmission of practical vocational skills. Beyond the core curriculum of language and environmental stewardship, Rosalie and Nita began to integrate workshops focused on specific crafts that benefited the entire community. Consider the introduction of advanced weaving techniques where Comanche women shared their expertise in creating intricate patterns using natural dyes derived from desert plants, while migrant women demonstrated methods for producing more durable textiles for clothing and shelter. The resulting textiles were not only aesthetically pleasing, but also more functional, serving a dual purpose of cultural expression and practical utility. This transfer of skills fostered a sense of mutual reliance and economic interdependence, further strengthening the fabric of their shared existence. The community was not just surviving, it was thriving, building a future on the bedrock of shared knowledge and unwavering cooperation. The evolving social fabric of Chihuahua Flats was further strengthened by the establishment of a communal arbitration system for interpersonal disputes, a mechanism distinct from the council's broader mediation. This system focused on mediating disagreements between individuals that didn't necessarily involve resource allocation, but rather personal conflicts, such as perceived slights or breaches of etiquette that could erode goodwill. Consider a situation where two women, one from each cultural background, had a misunderstanding regarding a shared task in the communal kitchen. Instead of allowing resentment to fester, a neutral elder, trained in the art of empathetic listening and cultural nuance, would facilitate a private conversation. This arbitrator's role was not to assign blame, but to help each party articulate their feelings and understand the other's perspective, often revealing that the perceived slight stemmed from differing cultural norms rather than malice. For instance, a direct refusal of an offered task might be seen as polite in one culture, while in another, it could be interpreted as uncooperative. By clarifying these underlying differences, the arbitrator could help reframe the interaction, fostering mutual respect and preventing minor misunderstandings from escalating into wider community discord. This bespoke approach to personal conflict was a crucial element in maintaining the delicate harmony they had achieved. Moreover, the community's approach to education expanded to include the systematic documentation of their shared history and practical knowledge. This wasn't merely about preserving memories. It was a strategic initiative to consolidate their collective wisdom for future generations and to provide a reference point for ongoing development. Imagine the creation of a communal archive where records were kept not only in written form, but also through oral recordings and visual representations. The migrants contributed journals detailing their journey and agricultural experiments, while the Comanche offered detailed maps of seasonal water sources and medicinal plant locations, annotated with generations of empirical observation. Rosalie, with her natural aptitude for synthesis, played a pivotal role in organizing these disparate materials, creating a unified repository of information. This archive served as a living library, accessible to all, and acted as a powerful tool for reinforcing shared values and ensuring continuity of knowledge, preventing the erosion of hard-won lessons through the passage of time. The practical application of this archival effort was evident in the development of a shared agricultural calendar. This calendar integrated the planting and harvesting cycles of both the migrants' introduced crops and the indigenous flora identified by the Comanche. It incorporated the Comanche understanding of lunar cycles, influencing plant growth, and the migrants' knowledge of soil enrichment techniques. For example, the calendar would specify the optimal time to plant corn, factoring in the Comanche wisdom regarding the soil's readiness after the spring rains, and then detail the migrants' method for composting to ensure nutrient availability throughout the growing season. This meticulously crafted calendar ensured efficient land use and maximized yields, transforming the valley into a more productive and resilient ecosystem. It was a tangible manifestation of their unified approach to survival and prosperity, a testament to the power of combining diverse expertise. Furthermore, the community established a system for intergenerational skill sharing that moved beyond formal workshops. This involved creating opportunities for younger members to learn directly from elders in a more informal, apprenticeship-style setting. Consider how a young migrant boy, eager to learn about the desert's hidden resources, would spend time accompanying a Comanche elder on foraging expeditions. During these excursions, the elder would not only point out edible plants, but also impart the subtle art of reading animal tracks, understanding weather patterns, and navigating by the stars. Skills that were as much about survival as they were about a deep, intuitive connection with the environment. Conversely, Comanche youth interested in the migrants' mechanical skills would assist in repairing tools and equipment, learning about levers, gears, and rudimentary engineering principles. This organic transfer of knowledge ensured that vital skills were passed down, fostering respect between generations and reinforcing the community's self-sufficiency. Reflecting on this journey so far, one can perceive how the disparate elements of survival, cultural exchange, and the rediscovery of balance have begun to interweave, not as isolated events, but as integral components of a larger, unfolding narrative. The initial desperation that marked the arrival in Chihuahua Flats has gradually yielded to a more profound understanding of interconnectedness. The harsh realities of the desert, once a formidable adversary, have become a shared teacher, its lessons etched into the very fabric of their daily lives. Conceptualizing this convergence, we see how the practicalities of resource management have deepened into a holistic reverence for the environment, a stewardship born not of obligation, but of an intrinsic recognition of mutual dependence. The very act of living in this challenging landscape has reshaped perspectives, fostering a resilience that transcends mere physical endurance, extending into the realm of shared purpose and collective well-being. In light of these insights, the path forward, as illuminated by the preceding developments, reveals a more nuanced understanding of how individual actions ripple outward, shaping the destiny of an entire community. The initial seeds of cooperation, sown in the fertile ground of necessity, have blossomed into a complex network of reciprocal relationships. The integration of diverse knowledge systems has not simply enriched their practical capabilities, it has fundamentally altered their collective identity, forging a new paradigm where distinct strengths complement and amplify one another. It is as if the scattered notes of individual melodies have harmonized, creating a richer, more resonant composition, one that speaks of shared aspirations and a unified future. This ongoing process of synthesis, of weaving together the threads of varied experiences, has created a tapestry far more intricate and enduring than any single strand could achieve alone. As we pivot towards the final reflection, it becomes clear that the enduring legacy of Chihuahua Flats lies not solely in its ability to overcome adversity, but in the profound transformation of its inhabitants. The journey has been one of shedding old paradigms, of embracing vulnerability as a source of strength, and of recognizing that true prosperity is measured not in material accumulation, but in the depth of human connection and the health of the shared environment. The initial anxieties and divisions have been transmuted, like base metal into gold, through a sustained commitment to understanding and mutual respect. The cumulative effect of these developments points towards a singular, potent truth, that the most profound changes often arise from the quietest of transformations, from the simple, persistent acts of empathy and cooperation that, over time, reshape the world around us. The enduring spirit of Chihuahua Flats, forged in the crucible of scarcity and tempered by the wisdom of shared experience, now resonated with a profound, quiet strength. The desert, once a symbol of unforgiving desolation, had become a canvas for transformation, its vastness a testament to the boundless capacity of the human heart to find connection and nurture life. The initial desperate struggle for survival had gracefully evolved into a deliberate cultivation of harmony, a testament to the subtle power of empathy and the enduring strength found in unity. The very air, once thick with the tension of fear and division, now carried the gentle murmur of two languages intertwining, the laughter of children echoing through nascent groves of trees, and the quiet hum of a community that had learned to listen not just to the wind, but to each other. This was not merely a story of overcoming hardship, it was a testament to the profound alchemy of human connection, where disparate elements, brought together by necessity, had been transmuted into something far greater than the sum of their parts. The lessons learned here transcended the practicalities of water conservation or agricultural innovation. They spoke to a deeper truth about humanity's place within the intricate web of existence. The Comanche reverence for the land, once a practice guarded by tradition, had become an accessible wisdom embraced by all. Similarly, the migrants' resilience and ingenuity, born from a life of movement and adaptation, had found a grounding anchor in the shared commitment to a single precious place. Rosalie, the child who had followed a silver lizard and a black and white bird, had become a living embodiment of this synthesis, her presence a constant reminder that true strength lay not in dominance, but in understanding, not in isolation, but in the delicate interwoven dance of mutual reliance. Her journey underscored the potent truth that even the smallest act of compassion, when nurtured and shared, could bloom into a legacy of enduring peace. The true practice, however, begins now, in the quiet understanding that the lessons of Chihuahua Flats are not confined to the parched earth of the flats themselves. They are universal whispers, carried on the wind to every corner of the world, where division and scarcity threaten to extinguish the flame of hope. The capacity for balance, for finding life where others see only emptiness, resides within each of us. It is in the willingness to listen, to share, and to recognize the sacredness not only of water, but of every interaction, every relationship, every breath drawn in shared existence. The enduring impact of this narrative lies in its invitation to reflect, to seek the hidden springs within our own lives and communities, and to cultivate the same quiet strength that transformed a desolate landscape into a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to create harmony from discord. The future is not a destination to be reached, but a garden to be tended, watered with understanding and nurtured by the unwavering commitment to shared humanity.